What happens when one of the greatest actors of our time for what seems like a simple interview, to be a calm only for it to spiral into something no one expected? The tension in the studio was noticeable from the moment what unfolded afterward. What followed left everyone speechless. Before we dive into this unforgettable moment, make sure you hit that subscribe button and share your thoughts below, because trust me, this one will definitely say about what went down. So Anthony Hopkins walks onto the set, and right away something feels off. You can sense there's a certain energy about him. There's a certain sharpness in his presence that wasn't there, an edge that wasn't there in past interviews. Joy Behar starts warmly enough, welcoming him warmly, praising his career, mentioning his iconic legendary performances, keeping things polite but distant. Hopkins short, measured, and briefly courteous. You can sense something simmering, something is clearly simmering under the surface. Then Joy changes direction. She starts talking about actors using their platforms for activism, speaking out on world issues. The importance of speaking out on issues. Building towards something. The shift in tone is subtle but clearly. His expression growing more focused. His expression then she says it. Then you've been fairly quiet on social and political matters, she notes. Don't you think with your influence there's an obligation to speak up about what's happening in the world? Thick. Hopkins doesn't answer immediately. When he does, his tone is calm. When he does, his voice is calm. A responsibility? An obligation? You think I have a responsibility? You think I have an obligation? Joy nods. You have millions who admire you. When you have millions who look to guide people toward what's right, you could use that to guide people toward what's right. His head slightly. Hopkins, you believe you know what's right, and you can see a change in his demeanor. You think my duty is to tell people how to think? And you believe you know what's right? Joy begins to reply, but Hopkins continues. You believe my duty is to tell people how to think? Building strength. Joy begins to respond, I've spent 5 decades studying human nature. His voice steady, but gathering force. I've spent 50 years studying human nature. And the one thing I've learned is that the moment someone believes they know what's right for everyone else, and you know what I've learned? They become dangerous. The moment someone believes they know what's right for everyone else, Joy's practice, they become dangerous. Fades. The room goes silent. I don't think wanting to make the world better makes someone dangerous. Not expecting that response. She says carefully. I don't think wanting to make the world better makes someone dangerous. Hopkins replies. Everyone thinks they're making the world better. Believed they were doing good. Replies. They all thought they had the moral right to control others. Believed they were Joy's expression hardens. They all thought they had the moral authority to tell others how to live. Your platform for good. Joy's face tightens. And who defines good? That's quite a leap, Anthony. Hopkins shoots back. I'm talking about using your voice for good. A group of people living in bubbles cut off from real life. Asks you want me to use my name to push a message and call that virtue? People in bubbles, the energy in the room has shifted completely. You want me to use my influence to push an agenda? Joy tries to call that good. I think you're misunderstanding what I meant. This is no longer casual conversation. Interrupts. Joy tries to recover. I understand perfectly. I think you're misunderstanding. You're saying my value isn't in my work or my art, but in whether I echo the right opinion. I understand perfectly. Whether I follow your You're saying my worth isn't in my work or art, but in whether I echo the correct opinions. What does that mean? Whether I follow the crowd? People like me who think they own the challenges. Who believe that because they have a camera and a platform, they get to decide what's moral. You sit here every day telling people how to think and call it journalism for everyone else. I sit here every day telling people what to think and call it service. I give them perspective. I give people information. You give them your perspective back. Hopkins corrects. I give them perspective and package it as fact. You give them your perspective. The studio feels tense Hopkins corrects. Joy's co-host and dress it up as fact. Uncertain glances. The energy is electric. I've done this for years. Joy's co-host exchange her nervous glances. I've been doing this for decades. I've earned the right to have opinions. Joy insists. Opinions are fine. I've earned the right to have opinions. Demanding others promote them isn't. Hopkins you don't want me to speak. You want forcing me to others to spread them. That's not freedom. You don't want me to speak. You want me to echo you. You're being dramatic. Dialogue. Fitting, I suppose, for an actor. Joy lets out a tense laugh. Hopkins tilts his head. You're being dramatic. When you can't counter the argument, you attack the person. Hopkins tilts his head. That's lazy. And when you can't counter a point, you dismiss the person. Frustration. That's beneath you. No, I'm trying to have a conversation. You're trying to win. No. You wanted me to nod politely and play along. You're trying to win. I'm not here to play. You wanted a friendly guest, not a challenge. To lighten the mood with a quick joke. One of the co-hosts but it dies a nervous joke to lighten things. People are struggling. It falls flat. Joy says after Joy presses on. They need leadership. When someone like you stays silent, it feels like indifference. Hopkins raises an eyebrow. By whom? Indifference. As defined by whom? You've built a hierarchy system where only certain views count. Anyone who disagrees is called indifferent or cold or uncaring. So nothing matters? So nothing matters. We should just ignore the world? We just ignore the world? Hopkins studies her. I'm saying art transcends politics. Art transcends politics that unites humanity. It's about thrive on division. Real human truth. Division, not the sideshow of daily outrage you trade coming from someone who's made millions pretending to be other people. That's rich coming from an actor. Hopkins says, almost smiling softly. You resent me because I'm beyond your influence.
You resent what I do because it exists
You can't shape my art to fit your narrative.
You can't shape it to fit
I don't
your story.
resent you.
I don't
snaps.
resent you.
I'm
Joy
asking
snaps.
real questions.
I'm asking honest questions.
Hopkins
No.
raises his
Hopkins
voice
replies,
slightly.
his voice hardening.
You're asking loaded questions.
You're asking loaded ones.
You want me to either
You want
agree or look
agreement or
foolish.
embarrassment.
It's a trap.
It's
and
not
I'm
honesty,
playing.
it's performance.
The crowd is
The
transfixed.
audience is spellbound.
Joy, visibly
Joy,
irritated, says,
visibly frustrated,
You've
leans
spent too
forward.
much time in your own
You live
head.
in your head, Anthony.
Real people have real problems.
Real people have real problems.
Hopkins' expression
Hopkins'
hardens.
eyes darken.
I've played kings
I've
and
played
killers,
saints
and
monsters.
monsters.
I've explored the full range of humanity in all its forms.
And you think
I'm out of touch because I won't shrink life into your political headlines?
soundbites?
That's not what I
That's
said.
not what I said.
Joy protests.
Joy says, but he continues.
You live in a world of sound
You live in a
bites.
world of short
Hopkins
segments
said.
and outrage.
You call it reality,
but it's
theater.
And
yet
you
I'm
accuse
the one
me of being
accused
out of
acting?
touch?
You're
Joy's tone
avoiding
turns
responsibility.
sharp.
You're avoiding
Joy fires
responsibility
back.
for your influence.
It's cowardice
It's
dressed
dressed as principle.
The
The
word
word
lands
hangs
like a
heavy
blow.
in the air.
Hopkins' tone
eyes
turns
narrow.
razor sharp.
Cowardice?
You think
it's
repeating
brave
the same
to parrot the
slogans
same
is
talking
courage.
points as
You call
everyone else?
conformity bravery.
You call conformity
It's not.
courage. It's
It's
fear
not.
of thinking differently.
It's fear of standing alone.
I face backlash every day.
I face
Joy
backlash
argues.
all the time.
You hide in
Joy
your mansion.
argues.
You
Hopkins
hide from the
laughs
real
coldly.
world.
Hopkins
You
lets
face
out a low
criticism
laugh.
from those who already
You're praised
oppose
by
you.
those who
But
already
you're
agree with
celebrated
you.
by your echo chamber.
That's not courage.
That's not courage.
It's comfort.
So
silence is
integrity
integrity now?
Joy shoots
Joy
back.
demands.
Your integrity is doing nothing while the world burns. The world has always burned, Hopkins replies, voice steady.
And it will long after we're gone.
And it will long after
I
we're
don't
gone.
pretend my opinions
I
can
don't have
stop
the
that
arrogance
fire.
to think
You
my
do.
celebrity opinion
You
can
think
fix
you
that.
matter more than
You
you
do.
do.
You're
You think you're
entertaining.
saving people.
We both
You're
are.
not.
I just
You're
admit it.
entertainment.
Entertainment?
So am I.
Joy repeats.
The difference is
furiously.
I admit it.
I
Joy
inform and
leans
educate
forward,
people.
angry.
To your
I inform
advertisers,
people.
maybe.
What I do
Hopkins
matters.
says.
To
To
your
real people
sponsors,
struggling
maybe,
daily,
Hopkins
your
says
show
coolly.
is background
To
noise.
struggling families or
You're a
soldiers
performer,
fighting
just
demons,
like me.
your show
Only
is noise.
I know I'm performing.
You're not a savior.
A co-host
You're a
tries to
performer
cut to
pretending to
commercial,
be
but Joy
one.
waves are off.
A co-host
If you
tries
think what we
again
do
to
doesn't
move the
matter, why
commercial,
come
but
here?
Joy waves are off.
Hopkins smiles.
If you think this doesn't
cold
matter,
and
why are
knowing.
you even here?
Because I wanted people to
Hopkins
see what
smiles
happens
faintly.
when someone refuses
Because I
to
knew
play
this
along.
would happen.
How fast
I wanted
tolerance
people to see how
disappears when
quickly
someone doesn't
tolerance
agree.
disappears when someone doesn't
Joy
agree.
suddenly stands. Her chair
Joy suddenly
scraping
stands.
loudly. Her
You
chair
came here to
screeching.
ambush me?
You came here to
Hopkins
humiliate
stays
me? I came to have a
Hopkins
real
stays calm.
conversation.
I came for
You're the one
honesty.
losing control.
You're the one losing control
I'm
because
not
you're
losing
not used
control.
to being challenged.
Joy
I'm not
protests.
losing control.
But her tone
Joy
betrays
says
her.
loudly.
You're being
You're
arrogant and
dismissive.
dismissive.
Sit
down, Joy. Hopkins says softly
quietly.
but firmly.
Listen instead of talking.
Listen instead of talking.
The command freezes
The command
her.
freezes her.
She hesitates.
For a
then
moment, she
sits
hesitates,
stiffly,
then
glaring.
sits.
Hopkins
Rigid and
continues,
fuming.
his tone calm
Hopkins
but
continues,
commanding.
his tone
If you
calm
want to
but
make a
commanding.
difference, start by admitting
You want to make a
don't
difference?
have all the answers.
Then start by realizing
Start by
you don't have
recognizing
all the
that
answers.
disagreement isn't evil.
Admit that
Your job
disagreement
is to
isn't
seek
evil.
truth, not
that your
enforce it.
duty is to
And
truth,
you think
not
you represent
agenda.
truth?
And
Joy
you think you
asks
represent
tightly.
truth? I
Joy
represent no one
challenges.
but myself.
I represent
Hopkins
only
says.
myself.
Hopkins
That's
answers.
the point.
I don't
force
pretend my
others to
perspective
see
is
through my
universal.
lens.
That's
Joy
the difference
exhales,
between
her
us.
voice lower.
Joy
You're
sighs,
twisting my words.
exasperated. All
You
I
twist
said was
everything.
that people with influence
I only
should
said
act
people with
responsibly.
influence should act responsibly.
Responsibly?
Responsibly?
As
Hopkins
defined by
repeats.
who? Defined
The
by
crowd.
who?
The
The
network.
crowd. Responsibility becomes
Responsibility
a weapon becomes a
conformity.
weapon used
Joy
to silence
gathers
those
herself.
who think differently.
We clearly see fame differently.
Joy steadies herself.
Yes.
We
Hopkins
clearly
says.
have different views
You
about
see it as
fame.
power.
I see it as
Obviously.
accident.
You
Hopkins
think fame
replies.
equals wisdom.
You see it
It
as
doesn't.
power.
That's
I see it as
insulting.
chance.
Joy
You think
says
fame
flatly.
gives wisdom.
It's
I
truth.
know it doesn't. Hopkins replies.
That's insulting.
And
Joy
if that
says
hurts,
flatly.
maybe it should.
It's observation.
The co-hosts
he says
remain
simply.
silent,
If
watching
it
in
stings,
disbelief.
maybe there's truth in it.
Finally, Joy
The
asks.
co-hosts stay quiet.
So what should people in
unsure
our
what to
position do?
Finally,
Stay
Joy
silent.
asks.
We should do our
So
jobs.
what should people in
Hopkins
our
says.
position do?
Do them honestly.
Stay quiet?
I don't
Hopkins
use acting
considers.
to preach.
We
I
should
serve
do
the
our
story.
jobs.
That's
Do them
enough.
honestly.
When
But
I
art
act,
is political.
I give it all I have.
Joy insists.
I don't use it to
It
lecture
always
or
has been.
preach. I serve the
Art
story.
can explore politics.
But art is political,
Hopkins says.
Joy insists.
But when it becomes
always has
propaganda, it stops
art
being
can explore
art.
politics. Hopkins
So you've never
replies.
chosen a role
But
for
when
its
it exists
message?
only to push an agenda,
She asks.
it stops
I
being
choose
art
roles that
and
challenge
becomes
me,
propaganda.
he says.
If
So
people
you've never
find
chosen a
meaning in
role
that,
for
that's
its
their
message?
choice.
She asks.
I'm not teaching.
I've chosen
I'm
roles
showing
that
truth.
challenge me.
And
he
that's
says.
not a message?
If audiences
not
see
instruction.
meaning in that,
Hopkins
that's
says.
their interpretation.
It's an invitation to think.
I'm not here to teach.
You tell
I'm
people
here to
what to
reveal
think.
truth
I
about
let them
humanity.
think. Joy
And
sighs.
that's not a message.
You make me sound like a
Joy
propagandist.
presses.
I just have
Hopkins
conversations.
pauses, then says, "It's not instruction. It's reflection. I show truth. I don't dictate it. You tell people what to think. I let them think." Joy exhales, frustrated. "You make me sound like a propagandist. I'm having conversations with people who agree with you. Hopkins points out. When was the last time you truly listened to someone who didn't? Joy hesitates, caught off guard. I engage with different views, she says finally. Engaging isn't the same as listening, Hopkins replies. Listening takes humility, the willingness to be wrong. But your job rewards certainty, not doubt. Joy looks shaken, but quieter now. You think I'm incapable of humility? I think your job discourages it, Hopkins says gently. You're rewarded for conviction, not curiosity. Doubt doesn't get ratings. The silence stretches. The audience is riveted. Finally, Joy asks, almost softly, so what should I do differently? Stop being so sure, Hopkins says. Stop dividing people into sides. Use your platform as a mirror, not a weapon. Show complexity. Trust your audience to think. Joy nods slightly. And if I did, would you respect me more? Hopkins smiles faintly. Respect doesn't mean agreement. But yes, honesty earns respect. Curiosity earns it too. Joy sighs, looking into the camera. This has been the most difficult interview I've ever done. Good, Hopkins says. Growth never comes from comfort. I'm not sure I agree with you, Joy admits. I'd worry if you did, Hopkins replies. The goal wasn't agreement. It was thought. Joy smiles faintly. Mission accomplished then. She turns to wrap up, but Hopkins interjects softly. No need. I think this is where we stop. He stands. Joy rises too. They look at each other for a moment before shaking hands. Hopkins walks off the set, leaving Joy staring after him as the audience breaks into hesitant applause. So there it is. One of the most intense interviews ever aired. A clash between two powerful minds where no one backed down. What do you think? Was Hopkins out of line, or did he say what needed to be said? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe.